This is The Wow Show, the first all-female sports podcast produced and supported by an NFL team. Join co-hosts Jade Kenny, Janine Samuels, and Stephanie Chajokian as they welcome guests ranging from authors to athletes to public officials and their families, all to inspire, motivate, and make change within ourselves. We keep you up to date on all things Washington football, plus discussing topics that matter most to women. Our goal is to connect and empower women through sports by sharing power-packed strategies to help you level up your mind, body, and soul, all while rooting on our burgundy and gold. Hello, hello. Happy belated Mother's Day to our listeners who were celebrating last week. We have another special edition of the WOW Spotlight. Again, we're going to take full advantage before football season really gets going and get to know our guests a little bit more. Janine, who do we got?
We have a very special woman, Chief Master Sergeant Jamesha, aka Misha Barnes. She is the Command Chief Master Sergeant of the 911th Airlift Wing, Pittsburgh Air Reserve Station, Pennsylvania. The wing reports to the 4th Air Force at March Air Reserve Base in California. Get this, with the team comprised of 1,300 reserve members to include Department of the Air Force civilians, contractors, and dual status technicians. The wing maintains combat capabilities of the C-17 Globemaster III aircraft. Yes, it's all Greek to me right now, but we are going to learn more about all of this. She is the principal advisor to the wing commander on all matters impacting combat readiness, professional development, training, proper utilization, and health and morale of the wing personnel. Wow. Misha, hello, welcome. How are you doing?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to spend some time with you all this morning.
Awesome. Well, we joked a little bit before about like, well, what do I call you? Misha, Chief? What is the correct? I'm going to go with Chief just because I love how that sounds. So if that's okay with you, that's what we're going to go with.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Your, resume, your bio is just so impressive. One thing that we noticed is that in 2009, you deployed to Djibouti, the Horn of Africa, Combined Joint Task Force, Africa Command, in support of combat search and rescue operations. Now, all three of us are part of the First Ladies. We have been there on military appreciation tours back in the day, but we noticed that you are literally a hometown girl. You grew up in Clinton, Maryland. You are now stuck in Steeler Nation, no offense. But let's talk a little bit about how you're feeling about the draft, the season ahead, the name change of the Washington football team, and just kind of curious, do you have a favorite team yourself?
Yes, I do actually. I am here in Steeler Nation and they remind me of that all the time. And, when I first took this assignment back in September, I was a little bit low-key quiet about who my football team was. And so whenever they asked me, I would say Ohio State to keep me safe. But as soon as the Washington football team broke their winning streak, I was happy to let them know that I'm a Washington fan. And I did do that. And I have bragging rights. So I was super excited about that. And of course, they want to give me some flack about us not having a name. And I said, don't worry about it. We're just that team that beat y'all. So it was good.
So you are the daughter of military parents, both in the Air Force. Your mother was a chief as well. I read you didn't want to go to college, so enrolled right away in the military. Was that your plan? Is that what you wanted to do? Or was, military your thing, or just getting out of college?
Honestly, it was to avoid college like the plague. I did enjoy school, besides the social aspect of it, like most teenagers. So I love the social aspect of school, but I really didn't consider myself like a great student. Although I did well, but it just wasn't intriguing to me. And so, with two military parents, they're like, well, if you're not going to go to college, you're going to do something. And so I set my heart out to join the military. I had no idea what I was signing up for, but it was a plan. And so when I graduated 8 days later, I was in basic training, raising my right hand to answer the nation's call. And I have not looked back since.
Awesome. And doing some research on your rank, because like Janine and Stephanie said, we're trying to understand the lingo. It's Greek a little bit to us, but we're gonna get the gist of it by the end of this interview. Chief Master Sergeant is the 9th and highest enlisted rank. In an article written about you, you mentioned you like to think outside of the box as a leader, and you are bold enough to do things that are out of the norm. Because you expanded on this, because you cannot lead the airmen the same way that we did in the past. Can you tell us a little bit about that mindset? I've done a little bit of leadership, educating myself, like reading about being a leader. And I read a lot about just like military leadership and how you have to be a little bit different.
Yes, ma'am. And mainly because our airmen that are coming in today are very different than the airmen who came in when I joined, which was 23 years ago. They are motivated by different things. They're very much so more relational. And so really they care more about who you are versus what you can do. And, the Air Force has taken a shift. We want to ensure that our airmen are valued and appreciated, because those kind of airmen will help you move the mission forward. And I've always been the type of leader that really, I do think outside the box, because I want to be remembered for who I am, not just what I do. And so really getting to know those airmen, understanding what motivates them, helping them figure out how they fit into the big picture is going to always, wage great positive results. I like to think of myself as a positive leader. I like to encourage folks and make sure that they are held accountable for things that they don't do right. But also recognizing, everybody has different talents. We have all types of leaders in the Air Force. And I think we're starting to get it right by managing talent and making sure that we have the right people in the right place at the right time. And, my boss is Colonel Robinson, and he and I are polar opposites. He's an extreme introvert. I'm an extrovert. And so we balance each other out. And he values what I bring to the organization in the form of diversity of thought. We have two totally different backgrounds, and that's so important, because you can't have people that are always thinking the same, and that's not how our Air Force is, and that's not how our airmen are. And so I really do get after it. I'm kind of nicknamed the street chief, because I am out there with the airmen. I'm talking to them, because I feel like in this role, I want to be visible, available, accessible, so that I can better advise the commanders on ways to meet their needs so that we can get the mission done.
Love that. And just love that you take the time to understand the needs of the airmen, right? Because sometimes leaders miss that part. They're so focused on, what the company needs to do, what the team needs to do, what the goals are of the team, that they forget the actual individual. And so really understanding that why is important. And that's something that you had mentioned as well, that you are really passionate about pursuing and understanding the airmen's why. But then I'm kind of curious, from your standpoint, one, why is that so important to understand? And then two, what is your why that kind of keeps you motivated to continue to learn about the people that are serving with you?
That's so important, because, people want to be a part of something that is way bigger than themselves, right? And so I will tell you, over the last 23 years, my why has changed many, many times. When I first joined the military, it was to avoid college. And then I thought I'd do, my first term and then get out. And then, of course, when that time came, I did not have a plan. So then I was stuck. I felt like, okay, well, it doesn't make sense to get out. I don't have any skills. I do have experience, but really didn't capitalize on everything that the military has to offer. And so I really did have a good mentor that kind of helped put a fire under me. And he saw things in me that I didn't see in myself, kind of like my potential. And he really, really, by example, encouraged me to do better, and so I started going to school. I did one of those stop things, because you get all excited about something, you go and you take 4 or 5 classes and then you overwhelm yourself and then you quit for another 2 years. And so I had many, start and stop moments along the way. And next thing you know, I'm at 10 or 12 years, and I finally got my degree after 11 years. And then my why changed, because I felt like I could motivate people, really, really encourage them by example, that you don't always have to have it figured out. And then, you get to those crossroads of opportunity in life, and then, you have choices. And so, my desire, really was kind of paralyzed by fear to get out, but motivated me to take advantage of those opportunities. And so, it's not a secret that there's not a lot of women, after their first or second term in the military, because they just decide to have family, And, it's just an experience that is kind of difficult if you choose to have a family. As for me, I didn't start having kids till I was 30. So I was already really, really deep into my career. And so, of course, then my why changed from me not wanting to go to college to now I got to support my 2 kids and, really starting to understand what the benefits were of serving. And then it went from running to really, really having a passion and love for the United States Air Force. It's given me so many opportunities.
That's awesome. I like how you just are honest that, the why evolved, it's passion, you should be passionate about your why, but it's okay to adjust it as big life events happen. So, do you think that you attribute your success to the mentor that you mentioned or for yourself? You may not go the normal route, like you said, school right away, but you seem to get everything done and you succeed, you motivate others, you're the street chief. How do these daily practices that you've kind of made up and mixed up on your own, how do they help you to reach all these heights?
I think it's just reevaluating. You grow, you evolved. I have committed myself to a life of continuous continuous professional and personal development. Life happens. And so really another thing that I kind of really discovered is that because my mom and my dad were so successful with being in the military, I tried so hard to avoid being in the shadows and really feeling like I wasn't going to measure up. And that's just we suffer more in imagination. Instead of really embracing some of the things that come so natural to us, I went out of my way to avoid those things. No one wants to be called little anything. And, I really honestly didn't value and appreciate what I had in the 2 mentors that I had at home, which was my parents. And sometimes it's not the message, it's the messenger. And, it just finally clicked and I started to get it and value and appreciate what I had because I understand everybody does not have that household. I grew up, yes, a military brat, so to speak, but my dad had 4 special duty assignments at Andrews. So I really didn't move around a lot, but still able to take advantage of being a military child and all the challenges with, just the newness and saying goodbye to friends and, things like that everybody doesn't have to deal with. And so that's really what motivated me is, once I started to get in the groove of who I was as an individual, then I could embrace who my mom and dad were and the pieces to the puzzle that how they fit into my life and shaping me. Then I was able to walk that out.
You set this up perfectly for my next question. So thank you. I'm going to try to bring it all together and bring it back to the Washington football team. The Washington football team's first round pick, Jamin Davis, he is the son of a military parents as well. And so is our coach Ron Rivera. How do you think growing up in a military family, like you brought up your parents, prepares individuals for sports? And also, are there any parallels you think between service and football?
Absolutely. Because, there are just some special things about people who grew up in military households. That structure is built into child rearing. I do that myself as a military mom. Just some of the things and, attributes that my parents had, learning that you have to have some stick-to-itiveness in life. You are not allowed to be a quitter, honoring your commitments, mean what you say. And I learned that kind of stuff from an early age. If I signed up to do something, whether I liked it or not, I had to be fully committed all the way to the end. And, I think the same is with football. You have to be dedicated to the process, the training, the changes, and I did read, listen to Jamin Davis. And one of the interesting things is I know when he was, going through the draft, he chose to do that in Georgia, which is, where his family is. And I myself, I was born in Dayton, Ohio, but I was raised in Maryland, but I spent the longest period in the military, 8 years in Georgia. And you really start to develop this home is where the heart is, not necessarily where, where you were born. But home for me has been where the Air Force has sent me. It's where I've made connections, which are so important, family that's not necessarily blood because we can't do it on our own. People who have an understanding of what you're going through without even saying anything. So it's those kind of things that tie you to back to your military roots. And also I think it's the same thing with sports, with the team concept, because you learn to love your teammates, like do anything for them, you want to support them. You know, you have that locker talk, there's the pep talks, there's the disagreements and things like that. But when they get out there on the field, it's time to play ball. And so that's so important. And the military structure has taught me that.
Yeah, and just, talking about the military structure, and you brought it up earlier, just about it being a male-dominated, industry. So talk a little bit about that experience for you, being a female in a male-dominated sector. I'm sure, having your mom there as a role model definitely helped in that situation. But what has that been like, just navigating all of the men, but then all of just the different situations that surround the job, which is so, so important?
You're absolutely right. And I've had my, challenges with that in the military, but really, I think understanding that I'm qualified. And I think as women, sometimes we undervalue what we bring to a team. And once I really started to understand and embrace who I am as a leader, who I am as an individual, a female, bringing that feminine energy, which is so necessary, and not trying to fit in, but in a way to be like the men, but to embrace the difference that I bring. I'm currently the only female chief on the base, and we have 16 chiefs, and I'm the only female. And so just, learning not to try to overcompensate and allow my experience to make me added value to a team, because for so long I felt like I had to, run farther, spit farther and all that kind of stuff, but really not understanding that just being who I am is an asset, and really embracing, what it is that I have and could complement what is already there and established in a team, instead of going against the grain, trying to prove that I belong, instead of really helping them understand, what an asset I am.
Yeah, and that comes with confidence, right? Though you have confidence in who you are, your knowledge, your skills, you know that you deserve to be in the position that you're in. And so that confidence helps you settle into your position and not feel as though you have to prove anything. And I think sometimes that is not the case for all women. We feel like sometimes we have to, prove ourselves, but it starts with us, just in us needing to have the confidence in who we are and what we bring to the table. So I love that you mentioned.
I would wholeheartedly agree.
I think that this ties into, obviously May is Military Appreciation Month, but it's also Mental Health Awareness Month. And I think we've kind of gone into that topic. So, Chief, can you share with us the importance of mental health and any advice you would give for servicemen and women feeling isolated or struggling?
Absolutely. Something we all kind of struggle with, and just understanding, where you're at, knowing yourself. When you are somebody who likes to pour out into other people, which as a chief, you're constantly doing that, but really understanding you cannot pour from an empty cup. What I was learning recently is that, you have to be unapologetic about your boundaries, because it's very easy to get out of whack when it comes to balancing, being a mom, being an airman, being a person. I have hobbies, and, when I take the uniform off, who am I then? And I don't allow these stripes or the uniform to define me. And so I have this thing that I like to wear under my rank, which is this Wonder Woman thing, because my intent is to leave my mark on the heart of the airmen that I encounter, because way more than the uniform, the stripes, the titles, I want to be remembered for who I am. And so to do that, you have to take care of yourself. And I think it's being wise about knowing your boundaries, like I said, and there have been times in my career where I've struggled, and I wish earlier in my career I would have been able to recognize those things, because it would have made it a lot easier. We have a lot of resources that are used to help airmen, and I got to be honest, I didn't use them before, but now I am a huge resource for referrals to let people know it's okay to not be okay. Me being an extreme extrovert, COVID was difficult. At that time when it first kicked off, I was stationed in Hawaii. And so I felt really secluded for somebody who gets their energy from being around people, as you can imagine, I was very depleting for me. And I looked at my kids and I'm like, they're not giving me enough juice. I need to get out. And so, just really knowing that it was okay, and just getting out and exercising and really taking the time to kind of make sure that your spiritual pillar, your mental, your emotional, your psychological, all of those things are so important to maintaining good mental health. And it's okay to get help. And I actually did that, went through counseling. They have military life counselors that were available, and I utilize those services. And the other thing is I use them because I want to be able to say firsthand to my airmen, hey, I've done it. It works. It helped me out. Because a lot of times people meet me and they don't think that I can go through, tough times because I'm a hard and I'm, strong, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I would not be where I'm at, without the resources that I've used to help me along the way.
Chief, you are speaking all of our language. Like, I think you should just join as our fourth host, because everything you're saying, we constantly are saying you can't pour from an empty cup. It's just everything you're saying is definitely our lingo. So it's just so good to hear coming from someone like you. And I want to bring this full circle, going into wrapping this up. If you could tell your younger self anything, what would it be?
Oh my goodness.
Stumping you on the last one.
Oh, much. No, it's not stumping me because I just want to shake her. Because, like I said, I really do feel like some of the things that I've been through in my life make me so relevant as a leader today. Because back then I felt like I'm the only one experiencing this, the only one going through divorce. I'm the only one that's a single mom. I'm the only one, going through college and stressed out and have a hard job, but that couldn't be farther from the truth. And so what I would tell my younger self is to listen more and say less. And, just really, like I said, about the 10-year mark is when I really started to get into the flow of what my purpose is. And the job that I have today has allowed me to seriously walk in my purpose. And I felt like everything that I've been through in my life has allowed me to easily sit in this position and to help those other women just by virtue of them seeing me sitting in this position. It speaks volumes. And I would be remiss if I did not mention my other sisters in arms, that we talk about things that have not necessarily been popular to talk about, but we're all going through it. And so the support system is so important. And, to trust maybe earlier the process, and that you're not going through this alone, and maybe not have to learn all the lessons that I've learned in life by firsthand experience. Sometimes people just have to touch fire to know that it's hot. And I like to say that the best lessons in life are from the experience of others. And if I could just leave one last closing statement, it would be, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I do plan to stick to finish.
Perfect 10.
I know.
I'm sticking it. Chief, you are sticking it. Perfect 10. What an inspiration. Oh my goodness.
Seriously.
Oh my God.
Wonderful. I mean,
I
you're exactly where you are supposed to be, and you are helping so many people, and even more now that you don't realize through this show.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you.
Well, I'm truly honored. Like I said, I was really trying to figure out how I was going to slip that in to thank April for this opportunity, because that's part of the whole networking thing. When I was in Hawaii, I didn't know a soul when I went to Hawaii. And, as a single mom, I was just freshly out of my divorce, and you really have to connect quickly, and you cannot do it alone. And there's no shame in really latching on to people who truly want to help, because they understand. But I really appreciate this opportunity. It's easy for me to talk, not on script, which is, how I can easily flow, because it really is in my heart to say these things. And I have women come in here, and when they leave, I give them their little Wonder Woman badge. And it seems like the cheesiest thing, but it means so much, because what's understood does not need to be said. Mm-hmm. So I just love it. I enjoyed y'all today.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I want to Personally, thank you from all of us for taking the time, and not only just for us, but like Stephanie said, for all the women and men who are listening to this show, whose lives will be changed from the lessons and the wealth of knowledge that you just shared with all of us. I wanted to show you what I was awkwardly flashing in the beginning. This is my challenger coin from Djibouti. I keep all the coins right here on my desk as a reminder from my military trips with Washington football. Just a reminder to be grateful for all that you and your sisters and your brothers sacrificed for our country. So thank you, personally, on behalf of me and on behalf of all of us.
Thank you, Miss Jade. I appreciate you guys.
Has your business been affected by COVID-19? Have you considered reducing or moving your office space? Then it's time to call Victory Van. We provide the best service and price with flexible options for your company's moving and storage needs. Visit victoryvan.com to get your free moving and storage quote today. For corporate storage and moving, it's always the right move to choose Victory Van. That's victoryvan.com, Victory Van Corporation, delivering excellence for 75 years and proud partner of the Washington football team.
Finch Services Incorporated, recognized in its industry as a world-class organization, is the exclusive supplier of John Deere golf and sports turf maintenance equipment for the Mid-Atlantic region. In business since 1945, Finch helps golf course and sports turf managers maintain some of the most exclusive playing surfaces in the region. Experience the Finch advantage for yourself. Contact one of our golf and sports turf sales specialists to see how we can help you maintain your field of dreams. Go to finchturf.com for more information.
At RTS, game day strategy doesn't stop when the whistle blows. RTS delivers smarter, more responsible waste and recycling services. As an official partner of the Washington football team, RTS is connecting the team and FedEx Field with sustainable solutions to care for the community and the environment. RTS, a better waste company. Find out more at rts.com. A new decade demands a new kind of wine. As consumers continue to embrace healthier lifestyles with beverages that taste great and keep in line with their dietary preferences, and wine is no exception. Fresh Vine Wine thoughtfully crafts great tasting premium wines that are low calorie, low carb, low sugar, keto, vegan friendly, and gluten free. Fresh Vine Wines pairs perfectly with your active lifestyle without sacrificing on taste. Available in select stores in DC and Maryland.
You can hear every Washington football team game on the Team 980 and streaming on the radio.com app. Listen to Team 980 every day for expert analysis, Washington football guests, and your calls along with hosts Kevin Sheehan, Washington football legend Brian Mitchell, Steve Zabin, and more on the official radio of home of the Washington football team. Download the radio.com app and favorite the Team 980 today to listen on your phone or smart speaker. We are heading into Wow Overtime, brought to you by our amazing partners at Fresh Vine Wine. I say this every time we do overtime and we're talking about our guests, but she is just incredible. She has such an energy. I always say that, but she really does. Her presence was amazing. A couple things that I loved that Chief Misha said is one thing about being a leader, how she likes to be the street chief. She wants to be seen, be visible. She wants to know that like the discipline that she's giving her team, she also, they can see her acting in the same light. And that's how you best to lead as a leader, is to lead by that way. Also, I love how she said it took her 11 years to get a degree. It doesn't matter how you get there. Your plans get thrown out of whack. It just matters your why then. And also I love how she said the stick to itness. I'm going to keep that in my back pocket. I just love it. She's like, it's how you stick it. So great interview all around. She's incredible.
Yeah. I think when she talks about your imagination, and I'm probably messing the wording up, but kind of being your worst enemy, like you imagine all these bad scenarios and you imagine why people don't want you for this and you know, you got to just let it go. She talks about saying less and being still, which I think is something that, you know, sticks with me. I heard it on the radio this morning after I dropped my kids off. It was like, take the day today to be still so that and it was so you could fill your cup. So actually being still, being quiet allows you to receive energy and to fill your cup, which to people that are outgoing like she is, and I feel like I am most of the time, that seems like horror to be still. So, you know, but I think, you know, I really need to get this year in 2021. So.
Yeah, I mean, so many gold nuggets in there. You know, I got chills when she talked about like when she pulled her patch down and it was the Wonder Woman emblem under that. And just, you know, to remind all of us as women that sometimes just having a small little reminder, like whether it's a bracelet or the Wonder Woman or something like that, to remind us of our power and to remind us of our worth, because sometimes we forget it in all of the hustle and bustle of the day. And then the other thing that really stuck with me, just because of the personal things that I'm going through right now, is her mentioning that it's okay to not be okay. And I'm reading a book that is literally titled, It's Okay to Not Be Okay. And I think that everyone needs to remember that we all have struggles, we all have ups, and with ups, there has to be downs. You cannot go up without coming down. And sometimes those downs can be debilitating and can stop you in your tracks and, you know, throw you back, but that's okay. What's not okay is to get stuck there and to not let other people know that you're going through that. So I just loved, you know, someone being in her position, being a chief, being a role model, being a leader, admitting that she had those hard times and that it's okay to not be okay.
Mhm.
And also what she said about home is where the heart is. I think, as this is might just be me, my perspective on it, but with military, you think military brats, they move a lot, they don't have a sense of home. But in reality, it's actually the opposite is what she was saying, where you really do have that sense of home and community and team with where you are at that time. And that's what being in the military teaches you. And that's also kind of why she believes, you know, Coach Ron Rivera, being from a military family, as well as our new first rounder, Jamie Davis, has that sense of team, sense of home, because they're used to that kind of upbringing. So all around, just a really cool interview. Great to hear kind of the football side from a true Washington football fan, as well as just an incredible leader, mother, and woman. So we're going to move right along into the events that we have coming up this month.
So for WOW, coming up, we have Wednesday, May 19th, our X's and O's. It's behind the scenes on how we make plays, how our coaches do it. We've got Nate Katzer, our special teams coordinator, coming in special to talk to the WOW women about this. Washington Times is going to have their reporter there, the Metropolitan beat reporter, Emily. We're very excited to have her there. And Julie Donaldson and Sean Springs, our alumni cornerback, all there to kind of talk about plays, our first in-person event. So I know that's going to be great just to see all of our smiling faces in one place. So looking forward to that. And I know we have something for Salute this weekend, if you guys want to talk about that too.
Yeah, so Jade and I are actually co-hosting this event, so I'm super excited to be a part of this. But basically, yes, it's Washington Salute, and it's actually on Armed Forces Day, Saturday, May 15th, and it is going to be virtual. It is the second annual virtual Murph Challenge. So Jade, I'll kind of throw it over to you to give some more details on that, but super excited about the event and to be a part of it.
Yeah, this event is amazing. I had the honor of hosting the first one last year, and I'm excited to have Janine joining us. But like she said, it is a virtual Murph Challenge. A new tradition began virtually in the light of the national pandemic. The Murph Challenge is to honor the fallen military members throughout the month of May. It shines a light on Lieutenant Michael Murphy's legacy and to support the Lieutenant Michael Murphy's Memorial Scholarship Foundation. We have a fantastic cast lined up. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have former Navy SEALs. We have an exciting hour filled with interviews from our head coach, Ron Rivera. We also have Washington football team's president, Jason Wright, as well as senior vice president of media, Julie Donaldson, also featuring Navy SEALs and another great guy, Michael Sowers. I'm not sure if he's in my read for this, but he is a former Navy SEAL who was friends with Lieutenant Michael Murphy, and he puts on the event every year. And it's just an awesome time to do it. If you can't physically do the event, just sign up and listen to all the interviews. It's just an incredible.
I saw
or just
it last year. Great. I mean, I would love to try it. So maybe I will.
Yeah, give it a shot. All information can be found on WashingtonFootball.com/fans/salute/2021 Virtual Murphy Challenge. Again, that is this Saturday, 11:45 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. Registration can be found online. But join us. It'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, we're busy. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for joining us here on The Wow, where we connect and empower women through sports. Huge thanks to our partners at Fresh Fine Wine. Till next time.
For more than 100 years, Chesapeake Employers Insurance has been helping Maryland businesses keep their workers safe. With competitive pricing and an AM Best A- financial strength rating, it's no surprise that Chesapeake Employers is Maryland's largest writer of workers' comp insurance.
At the end of every workday, someone's waiting for your safe return.
Connect with your agent or visit CEIWC.com.
Novec is powering a new generation by providing renewable energy, including solar. Once new solar projects are completed in 2023, Novec will provide enough to power 100,000 homes. Members may also purchase solar panels now through Novec Solutions, protecting the environment, providing reliable, safe, affordable electricity. Because future generations are depending on it. Novec, keeping life bright.
Every time the Maryland Lottery sells a Fast Play Progressive ticket, the jackpot grows. The Lucky Numbers Fast Play game has a jackpot that starts at $100,000 and goes up from there. New Diamond Mines jackpot starts at $250,000 and keeps growing and growing. Play all the Fast Play Progressive games from the Maryland Lottery. Play fast, win fast, and please play safely and responsibly.